Hello YouTube, ZeroMagnumX here. I'm going to be discussing the format. Plain and simple. I have a couple of decks on Dueling Network I can disperse and show and give my thoughts. So it'll be in regards to this specific ban list, if you guys haven't seen it yet. And what decks I think will be on the rise, and which decks will be on the fall. Okay. The first deck is Insectors. Okay. I think Insectors are actually a mid-range deck. People might call me crazy for this, but the fact of the matter is if you guys follow T Minority SPG, which go subscribe to them if you don't, their member L-Dub, as you guys would know him, only went 3-3 as far as I know right now with his Insector deck for day one. I'm not sure what he won against, and that's well and good, but he lost to a Synchrocentric deck. Go figure. Then he lost to, as well, the Insector mirror match. That means his opponent got the cards before he did, which shows that it's still a combo deck. And lastly, he lost to a Gadget deck. Yes, Gadgets with hate for Insectors and probably windups. So as you can see, players are already adapting for these threats. The fact that Insectors went 3-3 shows that the deck is only mid-ranged. It is tier 1, but it is still only a mid-range type of build. The build I have in front of you is more OCG oriented since I don't have tour guides or max C. This is what I can build. So, two things on it, real quick. This is just in for Torrential Tribute, and that's in for my Call the Haunted, and this is my Emergency Teleport. Which brings me to my next subject. The 2 Emergency Teleport, the 2 Torrential Tribute, and the 3 Call the Haunted spell disaster for certain archetypes and make me wonder why Sangan is now still in the game. I may not have tour guides, but I understand playing a tour guide, setting 2 Call the Haunted if you anticipate and maybe even Starlight Road, and recycling Sangan twice. Or playing Sangan, playing Emergency Teleport, synchroing, setting a Call to Haunted, and getting Sangan back. And multitude of play after multitude of play. He's allowing way too many searches with 4 reborn options. I think it's a little ridiculous that that play occurs. In this deck, it doesn't happen often. I found myself bringing back boss monsters more often not with Call the Haunted. Other decks, though, okay, such as this archetype, Dark World, will now be able to have a lot more synergy. Call the Haunted is really busted in this, because for all those times that you said, oh my gosh, I needed a Grapha, now you have Call the Haunted to bring it back, instead of having the need for your Dark World monster to be on the field to return it for. Like, Grapha would win it for me, but darn it, they bottomless trap hold or book a move to my Dark World monster. Well, now, no fear, 3 Call the Haunted and a monster reborn allow Grapha to come back from the graveyard even more. This deck, I think, is going to pick up in the meta and is going to be a very serious threat. Torrential Tribute as well. Well, I Torrential Tribute with my Graph on the field and I have a Dark World in my hand. This is one of the few decks that really benefits from the ban list, and I think it's overlooked. This is just a put together Dark World deck, don't mind it. It was to mimic my fiance's real life deck. So if you're wondering, that's what this is, but obviously it would be dramatically changed. The next deck I'd like to go over, and I believe I have it made on here, is this deck, Light Swords. This is just my build for it. I don't know if it's good or if it's bad. I just made it in 5 minutes and to show again my fiance what the deck did before, so she can kind of get a feel for it. She didn't know if she would like to try and make it or not because the stuff was really cheap along with the reprints. But I think with Lumina at 2, this deck will come back into play. I don't know if it'll be tier 1 or not. I don't know if they're going to be running 3 Call of the Haunted or not. I really couldn't tell you what kind of plays this deck is going to make. I don't know if it's going to tech in the emergency teleport engine or not, but it's possible. Secondly, I apologize if this video is long because I am covering each archetype that will be on the rise and archetypes that will be on the downfall. So that's the point of this video. If you want to hear about each archetype, then please stay tuned. But each archetype needs some discussion. Now, I do not believe I have a synchrocentric deck built for you guys. But everyone generally knows what the synchro deck is. I do have a TG plant deck though together. This is something I was looking forward to for fun and to put together and so on. You don't have to worry about it. It was just to test play and see how TG plants would do as a cheap alternative for not having tour guide from the underworld. Because outside of glow up bulb, I had everything else you see here. And Steel Swarm Roach. That's another exception in Hyper Librarian. I'd have to get those. But they weren't that far off expensive compared to tour guide. Okay. This deck, I think, is going to take a different shift. Like, okay. We're just gonna fix it right now. Again, apologies if it's a bad deck for, you know, plants and everything. But it was just the build I was using. So, it was just to see if it was even remotely viable. Okay. We're at 34 cards, okay? With this build. Now, remove Glow Up, remove Spore. Okay, Lone Fire can stay even as a target for Debris Dragon. And then one Striker. Alright. And then we do... Okay. And let's just pretend this is emergency teleport. I mean, I honestly believe it will be nearly this simple to do. I don't know what these will be. I just put Mystic Tomatoes in there because it's a plant monster. So, and with this you can fetch it. So maybe a dark target. But this is basically the route Synchrocentric can go. It's right here. 2 emergency teleport, 3 Krebons, 1 TG Striker, 2 Tengu, Sangan, your playset a tour guide, maybe a tour bus from the underworld. If you don't like 2 of these, take 1 out, put a tour bus in. This could also fetch you other cards, maybe not tour guide, but Krebons itself in Sangan. And it kind of opens up plays. I mean, you could even remove both of them for another Maxi, another Effect Veiler, if you feel the need to run them. So we're looking at a Synchrocentric deck that's still very viable. I mean, here it is, guys. It really hasn't changed that much. It lost Trishula. Okay, so that hurts. But players who are really good will simply just adapt to this. There could be a level 1 psychic monster that's a tuner that I'm missing that they will put in to be able to special summon through teleport to get their level 5 Hyper Librarian onto the board. Okay, this is just a basic idea. As well, they now have Call the Haunted ×3. That means there is a ton more reviving going on for plants, and it is much more of a graveyard-oriented deck to pull their synchro plays off now. So I really don't think this deck was hurt much at all. I just think it's going to evolve. Simply put, I think really actually you could do this. And let's just pretend that this is another Call of the Haunted for all intents and purposes. Okay, this could simply be what you're looking at, or maybe even make this Torrential Solemn Judgment, whatever you guys feel like for trip text. But essentially, this is the plant deck of the format, more than likely. This is what people can play, and like I said, this would probably be third max C. At least that's what I might suggest. And I think Thunder King Ryle may drop down to 2, I'm not sure. But you guys will definitely see versions of this deck played around with. But as you can see right in front of you, Synchrocentric is just redone. Likewise, the deck now may open plays for Dark Arm Dragon. You may be able to find a spot for him in here because you run enough dark targets now. So, if nothing else, the Synchrocentric deck added a boss monster and has a different playstyle. It may be a little less consistent than it used to be, but it's still a skillful base synchro deck, and really not much has changed in this. Now this deck. This deck is the troublesome deck of the format. You all, whenever I showed you this card right now, unless you play the deck, cringed and got mad. I'm guessing. This is just a basic wind-up deck. I've been tinkering with it. Don't mind it. I've been trying to figure out what the best route is to go without tour guide. But essentially, this deck is stupid. Flat out, it should not be in the meta. 6 Samurai were better than this to face down. At least if you played something with low count spells and traps, say like Monarchs, you could still take out 6 Samurai. Or if you went first, you could still take out 6 Samurai. Wind-ups just need like a Heavy Storm, a monster to special summon along with Wind-up Hunter, and they can do the hand loop. So they can automatically set you back. So if they have one of their elimination cards here, along with that, and then one of these, or that with Hunter, they can detach Hunter and just play out and hand loop you to death. So it's a very much more consistent deck than 6 Samurais were. So I think this is the deck of the format to beat. I think this is the top of the line deck right now. I don't think it's going to be like 6 Samurai, where people eventually were playing Synchrocentric and just beat 6 Samurai just because of skill and TG and so on and so forth. I honestly, sincerely think that this deck is worse. Okay, the last deck that was completely obliterated and abolished is TG Agents. Okay, this deck is no longer viable. The only thing you guys can do to make this deck work now, and I'll show you it, okay? Starts with her. This is about your only hope. And because Dust Shoot would be banned. Okay. This is about what you're looking at for the deck now. It's an ancient deck. But it lost its ability to open up with this and open up with this. However, if you max C, you should be okay. You can still run a general TG engine. I may even drop Rhino and run 2 Birdman, just so you can bounce Shine Balls to get more synchro plays off. And this is about the summation of TG agents and what they can do. It's really monster heavy now, as opposed to before. So it got more expensive. So this is about, like I said, this is about what you're looking to play. The thing is that they lost this key boss monster, so that's gone now. So now you have to play with what is left. Alright everyone, well, these are my thoughts for the decks and how they'll shift. I didn't mention 6 Samurai because that's the one deck I'm unsure on how it will do. I'm not convinced yet that bringing back 1 smoke signal makes the deck ridiculous again, but I could be wrong. I think it brings it back to tier 1 status in another deck that we have to worry about. So this is probably going to be the majority of the meta for all the decks that were altered and touched. Likewise, I still think Dino Rabbit will do well and can play out. Without any other statements, ZeroMagnumX out. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Apologies for its length, but I covered major archetypes, and I hope you guys can get some insight from this video. Take care and have a good night. Peace, YouTube.